Are you excited? I'm excited. We are going to make something really cool today at Cosmetic Kitchen. Kim, why don't you tell us what we're making?
Today we are going to be making a night cream, an anti-aging cream, and again, we're bringing you a two-phase product. So we will be kind of pre-doing, we did a pre-do of our water phase, which we'll talk about shortly, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with our oil phase. So again, we talked about in our last episode where we are working with a double boiler, again, keeping it nice and clear so you guys would be able to see us putting things in, but keeping that temperature where we need it to be. So I'm going to start with some cocoa butter, and I think we all know the benefits of that, yes?
What are some benefits? Good.
What are some of those benefits? Absolutely. Okay, so some of the benefits of the coconut oil, again, or cocoa butter, we're putting this in here, melting this in. This is going to be our night cream. So what about our stretch marks?
Yes.
What about our sagging skin?
Actually, yeah, just like we would put cocoa butter on ourselves if we were expecting, or maybe we're working out and we're trying to bulk up and you can get stretch marks that way from your muscles. Just like how we use cocoa butter on the body, it's great for an anti-aging night cream because it's going to work and prevent those fine lines from forming. And you could always still use, remember those old silk pillowcases?
Absolutely. You
can still use a silk pillowcase with it. But of course, it's a humectant, it's deep moisturizing, but it's non-pore clogging. Okay, so wait, what else did you put in there?
I just went ahead with the next step, which is going to go ahead and bulk up this mixture of putting emulsifying wax.
Oh, nice. That's going to be one of our binders too. So it's going to help hold our oil and water phase when we start emulsifying it when that product gets over onto my side. But is there anything else that you're going to be adding into that?
We're going to be adding quite a few other things to this. So
nice.
One other thing that we are going to be adding is stearic acid. And then we're going to be adding a barrage of oils. So I'm going to keep mixing here, and I'm going to let Mary tell you about our first oil, which
looks like avocado.
Avocado oil.
Yes.
Let's go alphabetically here.
So avocado oil is really great. It is high in vitamins D, A, and E. Actually helps with collagen retention, which means it keeps our fibroblasts really, really strong and keeps producing that collagen and elastin. Remember, that's done in our germinativum, so believe it or not, avocado oil does go all the way to the bottom of the epidermis. Now, after she adds that, she's going in with a little castor oil. Fantastic. Now, castor oil is great. It's a little bit thicker in viscosity, but still not comedogenic. And what that's going to do, that'll penetrate down into about that granular layer, so we get that deep nourishment in from the avocado, but then what we're going to get from that castor oil is a lot of soothing properties. Brings down itches, brings down irritation, redness, great for psoriasis, great for eczema, or just we know we get more sensitive as we get older because of perimenopause and menopause. So it'll help with that inflammation as well, and then seal in that avocado oil. Next up, what you got?
The next thing you guys may recognize just by color as well as viscosity, again, a nice thicker oil. Vitamin E.
Ooh, so do you remember, is vitamin E a preservative or is it a shelf life extender? Exactly. It's not a preservative. It's an antioxidant, which will obviously give you benefits for anti-aging, fight those free radicals that attack those fibroblasts, but it also extends the shelf life, but is not a preservative. We will be putting in a natural preservative when we start adding our water phase to it.
Okay, and last but not least, we are going to add our grapeseed oil.
Grapeseed oil is amazing. It tends to be one of the favorite oils of estheticians because grapeseed oil and grapeseed extract is actually one of the strongest antioxidants on the market that is not synthetic. In fact, it's stronger than most synthetic antioxidants as well. So again, prevents that premature aging, as well as the fact that it will now lay on that upper layer, more like that lucidium, into the corneal layer, still completely non-pore clogging, but it just holds all that good stuff in, as well as just having a protective layer on your skin.
Okay, we are coming along nicely. We do have a little bit of viscosity issue here. We have a few things that just need to melt down thoroughly. Again, it's having the emphasis on the right syllable. We have the right ingredients, but we need to get it all to temperature before we move on. And it looks like we are just about there. Again, I'm going to go ahead and pass off our oil phase to Miss Mary.
Sure. So we'll just add this here. So she's going to add this into a fresh bowl because we do want this to come down a little bit because it's going to help with the emulsification. Plus, it's also easier to pull, and that bowl is much, much larger. Also, as we whip it, it's going to increase in volume, just like when we did our Dream Cream last week. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do with this oil phase is I'm actually going to add our water phase. And this is all calendula hydrosol. So while I work on this and start whipping, why don't you let us know what this is about?
So what we did to create a hydrosol, again, we're taking different parts of the plants. I know we have lots of conversations about whether the stem is beneficial, whether the essential oil is beneficial. At this point, we took petals. Okay, so the petals are going to have some of the natural oils to them, but they're in a dried phase. So we're taking the calendula oil or calendula and making a hydrosol. So steaming that product and taking some of the essence out of it. It's basically like making a calendula tea. With that, we're going to blend it in. Again, we wanted to bring that down temperature-wise to blend those two. Our emulsifying wax is going to help those, but calendula is one of those that's going to be fantastic for that itchy or sensitized skin. It's also very calming, very soothing, amazing ingredient for our psoriasis.
Absolutely.
And our irritated skin type. So
now we have a little glycerin as well.
Okay, adding glycerin. Does anybody remember what glycerin is or where it comes from?
Well, this is actually a vegetable-based glycerin. There are animal ones, but we have a nice vegan product.
Okay, so taking this, what we're going to be doing is adding to the texture in the body as well as spreadability. So looking at, again, very much like we would not crack our egg at the very end, we have that system of when things need to be added. There is one more thing that she's going to be adding to this mixture, but we want to make sure that we get this whipped in and blended in first.
And it has a nice consistency, almost like cake batter.
Okay, and again, this won't be our final texture because as we saw the solids of the cocoa butter, this as it cools is going to be even a little bit thicker and more dense of a product. So part of that process, again, are we going to go slap it in the refrigerator tonight?
No, that's cooling it down way too fast. What can happen when you cool down an emulsion too quickly?
Okay, we're going to get that chunky cottage cheese separation. It's just not going to be something that's spreadable, that's something that's appetizing, but it's definitely not going to hold the emulsification the way we want it to be. It's not going to be bound together properly.
Yeah, less is more. Okay, so now I have a little bit of a natural preservative.
Okay, and again, we talked about preservatives. We know that anytime we're working with a product that has a water base to it, even though we use distilled water, we still know that that's going to have a potential to grow bacteria a lot faster than any other product. So just a vitamin E might help stabilize out that pH in the product. However, we do always want to add a preservative when you're working with a product that has a water base to extend the shelf life of that product and keep contamination from happening. Also being mindful, just like with any other products that we work with, we need to think about how the product is dispensed, how the product is going to be stored. So you'll see that Mary does have some nice containers in front of her. She can go ahead and put them in there, but we need to be mindful too, not just, you know, when you go to put a product on yourself at night, you're going to cleanse your face first, then you'd be putting the product on, but just introducing bacteria into that product is going to be a negative effect as well. So thinking about the storage, thinking about all the things that we can do to be mindful of taking care of and extending the shelf life of that product. With that water-based product, obviously, you know, scraping it out with a spatula, even if it's just for yourself, or being mindful to make sure that we're not introducing additional water by still having already wet hands and scoop it into that product.
Yeah. Or if you're going to even dispense it right away, I would recommend you keeping the cap off so that condensation from the heat as it cools doesn't add more water back into your emulsification. But you can see it's still quite warm. However, now we have a nice, almost like brownie batter consistency. So as this cools down to room temperature, we're going to have a nice buttery but still really light whipped feel. Very similar to our souffle that we retail. That's fantastic. This just has a little bit heavier on that cocoa butter, and we don't have the shea in it.
Right.
And that's good because some people are allergic to shea butter.
I was going to say, this would even bode well as a body cream.
Absolutely. Or a stretch mark cream if you're expecting or wanting to expect or hoping to expect.
Or even if you're not expecting, if you're working out, because some of you are taking advantage of this opportunity, right, to try new things.
Okay. Well, we are done. And we've got this going. Do you have any questions for us as we package and we cool?
The preservative?
The preservative. So it is actually a natural plant-based preservative, and it is actually a vegetable base. So it's a mixture of vegetable extract, that will, that it's a proprietary blend of preservatives that we get from a company.
Any other questions today?
All right.
Okay.
Well, we are so happy to be able to spend every Friday with you. Don't forget to not only join G Team, but also give us recommendations on what products you'd like to see next week. All right.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.